Ever wondered how criminals make dirty money appear clean? Let's delve into the murky depths of money laundering, a global conundrum that allows billions of illicit dollars to seep into the economy every year. This intricate criminal operation isn't just about well-dressed mobsters in smoke-filled rooms. It's a sophisticated network, a shadowy world that's often right under our noses, yet shrouded in mystery. Intrigued? Stay tuned as we unveil the secretive world of money laundering. Let's delve into what money laundering is and how it works. Imagine an individual with a heap of ill-gotten wealth. This could be from drug trafficking, human smuggling, or even illegal arms sales. The challenge for this individual is making this dirty money look clean, giving it an air of legality. This is where money laundering comes into play. Money laundering is the illegal process of making large amounts of money generated by a criminal activity appear to have come from a legitimate source. It's akin to washing dirty clothes, hence the term laundering. The money is cleaned, so it can be used without raising suspicion. Why do criminals resort to money laundering? Well, it's all about security and survival. Having a pile of cash stashed under the mattress is not only risky but also impractical. Laundering allows criminals to enjoy their illicit gains without the constant fear of being caught. Now let's talk about the 3 stages of money laundering: placement, layering, and integration. The first stage, placement, involves introducing the illicit money into the financial system. This could be done in a number of ways, such as depositing large amounts of cash into a bank account or purchasing assets. Next up is layering. This is the most complex stage of the process, where the source of the money is obfuscated through a series of complex transactions and bookkeeping tricks. The objective is to make tracing the original source of the funds as difficult as possible. Lastly, we have integration. This is the final stage where the cleaned money is returned to the criminal from what seems to be a legitimate source. At this point, the money is difficult to distinguish from legitimate funds and can be used openly without raising eyebrows. So, there you have it. This is the basic outline of money laundering, an intricate and illegal process that enables criminals to enjoy their ill-gotten gains without the looming threat of being caught. Now that we've covered the basics, let's delve deeper into each stage. The first stage of money laundering is known as placement, but what does that entail? Placement is the initial phase of the money laundering process. It's where the dirty money, the funds derived from illicit activities, is first introduced into the legitimate financial system. This stage is arguably the riskiest for criminals, as it's the point where they are most vulnerable to detection by law enforcement agencies. So how do criminals navigate this risky terrain? They employ a variety of methods to make these funds difficult to trace. One such method is smurfing. This involves breaking down large amounts of illicit money into smaller, less conspicuous sums. These sums are then deposited into banks or used to purchase assets, making them less likely to attract attention. Another common method used during the placement stage is leveraging currency exchanges. Criminals might move their funds around through different currencies and different countries. This makes it challenging for authorities to follow the money trail, as it often crosses international borders and involves multiple currency conversions. These methods, among others, are designed to disguise the origins of the illicit funds and make the money appear as though it comes from legitimate sources. The aim is to avoid any red flags that might alert the authorities to the illicit nature of the funds. But placement is only just the beginning. After placement comes layering, the most complex stage of money laundering. This is the stage where criminals work their hardest to cover their tracks. The goal? To confuse, to obfuscate, to make tracing the illicit money as difficult as possible. Imagine trying to follow a single thread in a massive tangled ball of yarn. That's what it's like to trace laundered money in the layering stage. The illicit funds are moved, mixed, and muddled through a series of complex transactions, each designed to further separate the money from its illegal source. Let's dive into some of the methods used at this stage. One common tactic is the use of offshore transfers. Money is moved across borders, often multiple times, and sometimes even back and forth between the same 2 accounts. Each transfer makes it more difficult to trace the money back to its origin. Another favorite tool of money launderers is the shell company. These are businesses in name only, with no actual operations or assets. They exist solely as a vehicle for moving and hiding money. A launderer might set up a shell company, transfer the illicit money into the company's account, and then issue invoices for non-existent goods or services. The money can then be withdrawn as seemingly legitimate business income, further obscuring its origins. But it doesn't stop there. Money launderers often use a combination of these methods, layering transaction upon transaction, each one more complex than the last. They might move money between multiple shell companies, use a series of offshore transfers, or even purchase and sell assets to further muddy the waters. This stage of money laundering is like a game of hide and seek, with the launderers doing their best to hide the money and law enforcement trying to seek it out. The more layers of transactions, the harder it is to find the original source of the funds. With the origins of the money now obscured, it's time for the final stage. But remember, while the layering stage may be the most complex, it's not the end of the money laundering journey. There's still one more step to go. The final stage of money laundering is integration, where the laundered money is returned to the criminal. This stage is where the cleaned money is reintroduced into the legitimate economy, making it nearly impossible to distinguish from clean money. It's the ultimate sleight of hand, a final maneuver in a dangerous game of financial hide and seek. One of the most common methods used in this stage is property dealing. The laundered money is used to purchase real estate, often in cash transactions, to avoid raising suspicion. These properties can then be sold later, turning the dirty money into legitimate assets. Another common method is dummy investments. The laundered money is invested in legitimate businesses, often ones owned by the criminals themselves. These investments can then be sold, and the proceeds from the sale appear to be legitimate business income. This method is particularly insidious because it not only cleanses the dirty money, but also boosts the economy, making it even more difficult to detect. Sometimes, the laundered money is used to fund lavish lifestyles. Luxury cars, high-end fashion, and expensive vacations are all ways that criminals can enjoy their ill-gotten gains while appearing to be successful entrepreneurs or investors. These ostentatious displays of wealth can often serve to distract from the source of the money, further obscuring the trail. But don't be fooled. While these methods may seem sophisticated, they are all just variations on a simple theme, taking dirty money and making it appear clean. It's a high-stakes game of financial deception, one that law enforcement agencies around the world are constantly working to uncover and thwart. In the end, money laundering is a complex, multi-stage process that can be hard to detect. But by understanding the stages and methods used, we can be better equipped to spot the signs and help stop this criminal activity in its tracks. And just like that, dirty money appears clean. Now that we've broken down the process, let's summarize what we've learned. Money laundering, a sophisticated form of fraud, is a three-step dance that criminals use to conceal the origins of illicit funds. It begins with placement, the initial stage where dirty money is introduced into the legitimate financial system. This could be through cash deposits, purchase of assets, or even gambling. Then comes the layering stage. This is where the money is moved, mixed, and muddled to create a complex trail of transactions, making it difficult for authorities to trace the money back to its criminal source. This could involve wire transfers, shell companies, or offshore accounts, among other methods. Finally, we have the integration stage. This is where the now clean money is brought back into the legitimate economy, often disguised as a normal business transaction or investment. The criminals can then use these funds without arousing suspicion. Money laundering is not just a crime, it's a global issue that fuels other serious crimes, such as terrorism, drug trafficking, and corruption. It's a shadowy world that thrives in the cracks of our financial system, exploiting loopholes and weak regulations. But it's not all doom and gloom. Across the globe, there are efforts to combat this menace. Governments, financial institutions, and international bodies are joining hands to tighten regulations, enhance surveillance, and promote transparency. This includes implementing stringent Know Your Customer (KYC) norms, monitoring suspicious transactions, and sharing intelligence across borders. However, the fight against money laundering is fraught with challenges. The methods used by criminals are constantly evolving, making it a game of cat and mouse. The secretive nature of these transactions, the sheer volumes of money involved, and the global scale of operations further complicate matters. Remember, knowledge is power. By understanding how money laundering works, we can all play a part in combating this global issue. It's a fight that requires constant vigilance, international cooperation, and most importantly, public awareness. Because every step we take towards understanding and combating this issue is a step towards a safer, more transparent world.